Bombshell new audio has been released of Donald Trump from back on the 2024 campaign trail where he was talking to donors. This audio was obtained by 3 reporters who have written a new book together. They are Josh Dawsey, Tyler Pager, and Isaac Arnsdorf, and they have a new book called 2024, How Trump Retook the White House and the Democrats Lost America. And in this book, doing research for it, they were able to get their hands on audio of Donald Trump doing some of these big ticket fundraisers. And some of it was released this week. I imagine more of it's going to be released, as we get to the book launch, all that, because they want to increase the sales, whatever. I think that's shoddy journalism. Like, when you guys got your hands on this stuff, you should have immediately released it. That's journalism. All of these people who have made these bombshell, claims in books and even have evidence to support it, they waited until they could profit off of it instead of publishing it when they got their hands on it months and sometimes even years ago. And that pisses me off. You put your own greed ahead of the good of this country. And that's never not going to piss me off. But either way, now we have the audio. Could have had it, maybe a year ago. Maybe could have changed the election, but, then you guys wouldn't have made any money. Anyway, the audio clearly shows a mentally deranged Donald Trump telling his donors that he called up Vladimir Putin and threatened to, quote, bomb the shit out of Moscow. Here is what Trump is heard saying on that audio. With Putin, I said, if you go into Ukraine, I'm going to bomb the shit out of Moscow. I'm telling you, I have no choice. And then Putin goes like, I don't believe you. But he believed me 10%. Everything I just read to you is a statement from a crazy person. All of this is coming from the mouth of a man who is clearly mentally disturbed, suffering from psychological issues, and clearly suffering from neurological issues. A sane person does not make a statement like that. Now, I told him I was going to bomb the shit out of him, and he didn't believe me, but he believed me 10%. And I also have to address the 10% claim. Like, where did that even come from? Did Putin tell you, I don't believe you, but maybe 10% I believe you? First of all, horrible Russian accent. That wasn't even close to being Russian. But, if you're going to lie, just go bigger. Why'd you go 10%? He believed me 10%. You could have said 15, 20, 25. Hell, you could have said 50. Or you could have been a normal person and said, he said he didn't believe me, but I could tell from the tone of his voice, he knew that I wasn't somebody to be trifled with. That is actually how you would say that in a professional setting. That's how you would say that if you were a mature, respectable adult. But don't worry, folks. Bombing the shit out of Moscow was not the only deranged thing this lunatic had to say. He also said of China and Xi Jinping that he would basically bomb them if they went into Taiwan. And he said of Xi Jinping, he thought I was crazy, but we never had a problem. He's not the only one that thinks you're crazy, okay? In fact, right now, most world leaders think you're crazy. We had statements from them earlier this week when you threaten more tariffs that basically say, we think he's a crazy wannabe emperor. He also said this, and this, of course, was about the anti-genocide protesters. He said, one thing I'd do is any student that protests, I would throw them out of the country. Those people made a big mistake. Throw them out of the country, and I think that will stop. If you get me elected, we will set that movement back 25 to 30 years. Now, in case you didn't pick up on it, let me reread this with some more emphasis. One thing I'd do is any student that protests, I would throw them out of the country. It doesn't say any person here on a student visa that engages in a certain form of protest. It literally says any student that protests, I'd ship them out of the country. We can only assume, based on the actual words that he used, that he is telling us he would deport American students for engaging in their First Amendment right to protest. And by the way, even students here on a visa, foreign students, they're also protected under the U.S. Constitution. Anybody on our soil, citizen or not, is protected by our Constitution, and they have that right to protest. But he doesn't care about the Constitution. The only amendment that conservatives care about is the second. And in that case, they kind of only care about some of the words in it and not all of the words. But again, we're not even done with the craziness from these audio tapes. Trump then, later on, bragged about how he basically extorted a wealthy donor. He said this: "He wants to have lunch with me over $1 million. I said, you're worth $5 billion or $6 billion. You're talking about $1 million and I gotta have lunch? I'm not having lunch. You gotta make it 25 million. And he said, oh, that sounds like a lot. And he did it. He gave me 25 million. It's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy that you're basically admitting you extorted him. He was going to give you $1 million donation, then he gave you a $25 million donation to get your ear for an hour to ask you for special favors. That sounds a lot like extortion and bribery to me. And you're openly bragging about it to those millionaires and billionaires in that room where this audio was recorded. It is crazy. And you are crazy. But what's even crazier is that the public just doesn't seem to care. At some point, the voters, the people, the citizens, y'all have to get like super pissed. It can't just be me and my audience here and the followers on social media and the other progressive commentators being pissed off. Everybody has to get pissed off. Because if you don't, nothing changes. If you don't get pissed off, this stays the same and gets worse in time. So be pissed off. It's okay. In fact, at this moment in time, I'd say it's more than okay. It's pretty much being called for. Did you know that you might be missing out on wonderful content from me? I mean, you're here already because clearly you like what you see. So if you're not already, please do subscribe to the channel. Make sure you like the video, share them with your friends and family, but also follow me across the rest of the social media world. And it's not that hard to do. Whether it's X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Threads, on every one of those platforms, you can find me at the username @FarronBalanced. Simple enough, right? So get on it. And if you don't feel like going to each one of those outlets individually, lucky for you, we have links in the description of this video to take you right to my pages across all of social media. So don't miss a minute. And while you're at it, make sure you're also subscribed to the Ring of Fire YouTube channel, which I have been hosting for many, many years now. We've got more than 1 million subscribers over there, and there is fresh content over there every single day of the week. So again, if you're not subscribed, subscribe to this channel. And while you're at it, go subscribe to Ring of Fire at youtube.com/The Ring of Fire and @FarronBalanced across every social media platform that, of course, is not considered just a far-right hellscape. Well, maybe Twitter is, but that's a story for a different day.